Hello, hello everybody. Welcome back for another Procreate Sketch Sesh for making art every day. So excited to talk to you guys about this month's theme. We are bringing back something we did last year in October, and I'm so excited about it. But if you're new around here, let me first tell you about Making Art Every Day. So Making Art Every Day is a drawing challenge that I've been running for the past 7 years, and basically what it is a series of daily drawing prompts, tutorials, and motivation to help you nurture your creative practice. Every month we pick a theme, and we have prompts for every day of the month, and I share tutorials and all kinds of fun stuff to help you just get to drawing. So my whole goal with this is just to help you draw more and feel inspired to create. And for October, we are bringing back Brushtober, and I'm so excited. We did this last year for the first time, and it's a whole month just dedicated to exploring our Procreate brushes. And like the timing on this month could not be more perfect because just a few weeks ago, Procreate released their 5.4 update, and it was all about the brushes. There are 180 brand new brushes designed by Kyle T. Webster for Procreate, and they're amazing. So I thought it would be perfect for this Brushtober to focus on exploring those brushes. So we're gonna have a different theme for every week this month. And for each week, we're going to be exploring like a different medium or type of brush. I'll be recommending various Procreate 5.4 brushes and Bardot Brush sets for you to try out that week. And then we have prompts that are in the realm of cozy, autumn, spooky, ready for the season. So without further ado, let me talk to you about everything that's going on, and I'll switch you down to my iPad. Okay. So I'm opening up this month's drawing journal. If you haven't already, I would recommend downloading this. This has a ton of useful information for you to learn about this month, as well as help plan out your month of art making. You can find a link to download this down in the description, and we'll share one in the chat for you guys as well. But here is our drawing journal. Of course, this month is Brushtober. And the page after this will tell you a little bit about what Brushtober is all about, but really it's a chance for you to explore your tools, experiment with new ones, and find maybe your new favorite art making tool. And each week, like I said, we're going to be exploring a different type of brush or medium. So the next page, we're going to kind of go into what's coming up week by week. So let me show you that next. So the first week, which starts tomorrow, is going to be pencils and pastels. And we have some cozy kind of prompts that I think would look good for this kind of like sketchy, soft kind of medium. And then I have some Procreate brushes that I recommend from Procreate 5.4. And then some Bardot Brush sets to try, like Pencil Box and Artist Pastels. So that's week one. Week two, we're going to be exploring paint and watercolor. And I've got some, of course, Procreate 5.4 brushes here, both in the realm of like painty, like some of these new brushes have these just like such a beautiful texture to them. And then the watercolor brushes from Procreate 5.4 are awesome too. And I have a couple great sets if you have, especially if you have my master bundle, the Playful Painters and the Watercolor Wonder are also perfect for this week. And then our prompt theme is harvest, so celebrating the bounty of fall. We have like apple baskets and pumpkins and jam jars and things like that, and I'll show you the prompts list in just a sec. And then for week three, we're exploring shapes and patterns. And this, I really love that we have this week because these are brushes that don't really represent necessarily a physical, like analog medium like some of the other weeks do, but things that you can just do in Procreate or just do with digital art, like using pattern brushes that have patterns built into them, or shape stamp brushes. And there aren't really a lot of those in Procreate 5.4. There's a couple, but it's not really the focus of those brushes. So I've got a couple Bardot Brush sets that I recommend. The first one's Imperfect Patterns, and it's got a ton of really fun pattern brushes in there that you can use to decorate your art. And then I have a new brush set coming called Misshapen Shapes, and it's 103 brushes. This is a hefty set, and it's filled with like just a ton of different shapes, and they're all kind of wonky, and I designed them to really pair well with the Imperfect Patterns brushes. So I'm excited to share more about that. Stay tuned to my email list so you can find out when that, well, it's coming out on the 10th, but more info will be coming your way. So that's shapes and patterns. Oh, and the theme kind of for that week for the prompts are things that have kind of a decorative elements like quilts and mugs, sweaters, notebooks, things that you can like kind of add decoration to through patterns and shapes. And then we have week 4, which is markers and ink. And our kind of theme for that week is we're getting more into like spooky season. So the prompts are a little kind of Halloween, skeletons, haunted houses, bats, and things like that. So again, Procreate 5.4 brushes to try. There's some really amazing marker brushes and ink brushes. Like I feel like those are some of the stars of the update. And then a couple Bardot brush sets to try, the awesome alcohol markers and the Mid-Century Illustrators kit. This one has some really fun inky brushes in it. So that's markers and ink. And then for the final week, which is a short week, it's just a 5-day week, we're doing brush roulette. And all that means is try out whatever brush you want. Just kind of experiment, hop around between the different sets, maybe surprise yourself a little bit and just try something you wouldn't try before. And I've pulled out a few brushes here that I think are really fun from Procreate 5.4 that you can try out, but like bounce around between different sets and try them out. And then I've got a couple of Bardot brush sets. The multi-tonal markers are kind of like weird brushes, but they can make really amazing artwork. And then gouache paint box, which is just like one of my favorite sets that I've ever made. So you can try those out. So that's week by week. And then we've got some tutorials coming up. So I'm gonna skip over the like what's coming up for the tutorials and things like that and just go straight to the prompts page really quick, just because we were just talking about the prompts. So this is the full prompts page where you get all your week by week prompts. So we have our cozy prompts with acorns, autumn leaves, cottage. Then we've got the kind of bounty harvest, corn pears, soup bowl, pumpkin patch. Shapes and patterns, again, we have like quilt, coffee mugs, raincoat, like all these things that you can just add decorative elements to. Candy wrappers, I think will be a really fun one too. Markers and ink, so getting kind of spooky with potion bottles, candles, a haunted house, forest path. Those are all really fun prompts. And then brush roulette. And brush roulette, I didn't say what the theme for that week is, but it's all classic costumes, like classic Halloween costumes. So you can draw these, you know, you can draw a werewolf or a vampire, or you can draw someone dressed up as a werewolf or vampire or mummy. I think both ways are kind of fun. But, you know, Frankenstein, witch, that sort of thing. And then my little graphic here, I did a few quick little doodles using some of the brushes from Procreate 5.4, and then I've kind of called out what they are there, so you can check that out as well. So those are all the prompts for Brushtober. I'm super duper excited about them. So let me go back a step, and we have some really fun tutorials coming up for you for Brushtober. So I'm gonna go back over this way. Well, let's see, I'll go to this page first because this is the schedule. So this is the full schedule of everything that's going on. So I'll zoom in here to tell you about it. Today, of course, is our sketch sesh. On the 3rd, I am going to be releasing a tutorial. This will be a published tutorial on YouTube, and it's going to be painty pears with Procreate 5.4 brushes, and here's a little peek at the artwork. So we're going to be exploring 6 different brushes from Procreate 5.4, the paint and the watercolor brushes, and then doing a pair with each of these brushes. And this is a really fun way to explore a brush and see what you can do with it by just drawing the same thing over and over with different brushes. So that's what that tutorial is all about. And then we have our Art Makers Club live tutorial, and this one I'm also very excited about. So I'll go back over here. So for Art Makers Club, we are going to be doing folksy florals. We're going to be designing decorative Procreate brushes. So this kind of goes in with the shape and pattern week. But I'm going to be teaching our members how to create Procreate brushes to create these fun floral effects. So you can kind of get a peek at some of the brushes that we're going to be making here. So we're going to be doing like shape repeat brushes to make our petals. And then we're going to be creating these fun little flower stamp brushes. And we're actually going to be, I'm going to be teaching people how to do a dual colored brush where you can have 2 colors in one brush stroke or stamp. So all of these flowers that you see here that have 2 colors in them was just done with 1 tap. So I'm going to be teaching our members how to incorporate a second color into a single brush, and it's a really fun thing, and I love that. I'm so excited about it. And then we'll create a fun little floral kind of design. So it's going to be a really fun tutorial. If you want to learn about Procreate brushes and how to make them, I definitely recommend joining us in Art Makers Club. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I have another tutorial all about brush making in Art Makers Club, so I'll be sharing that one too as well. Okay, let's see what's next. 10/10 is going to be our Misshapen Shapes brush release, so stay tuned for more details about that. Very excited about it. And then on the 17th, I have a second YouTube tutorial coming, and it's this one here. This is going to be a live tutorial, so live just like we are now, and we're going to be creating this inky haunted house using Procreate 5.4 marker and ink brushes. So this goes with marker and ink week, and it's a really fun approach to drawing a house. It's pretty simple kind of style. So what I love about it is you can get really lost in all the details and like adding fun little decorative elements, because like the rendering, coloring is pretty easy. So I think you guys are going to really like that one. 2 p.m. on October 17th. So make sure you join us for that one, and be sure to subscribe. If you guys subscribe right now to my channel and hit the little bell notification icon, you'll be notified as soon as we go live. So that's a really good way to kind of keep track of things. And then I have a calendar, which I'll show you in just a sec, but I'm going to finish going through this. Okay, so that's Inky Haunted House. And then the other thing, which isn't necessarily Brushtober related, but it is exciting, is I'm going to be doing a Procreate Dreams demo at Lightbox Expo, which is this conference that I go to every year. Procreate's the principal sponsor, and it's all about people that are artists that make animation and video games and things like that. And Procreate Dreams is coming down the pipeline before the end of the year, so I'm really excited to do a fun animation demo at the Procreate booth. So if you're going to Lightbox Expo, let me know, because I would love to say hi to you, and that'll be on the 26th. And then finally, this is a fun thing we do in Art Makers Club. We're having a costume party hangout where we just hang out on Zoom and draw, and you can wear a costume if you want, but we're gonna play some fun drawing games and Halloween kind of themed things. So it's just like a fun event that we are doing for I think like the second or third year in a row. It's a lot of fun. So that's everything that's going on. We have a lot, but if you're having trouble keeping track of things, I highly recommend subscribing to our calendar, and I'll show you a link where you can get it. But this is what it looks like. Once you subscribed, all the prompts actually appear, whoops, oh, they're still there. All the prompts appear in your calendar app. So we have all the October prompts are in there, and you get notified, like you get a little reminder every day that says draw acorns or draw an apple basket. And then all the tutorials are in there as well. So highly recommend signing up for that, and I will show you how to do that. This is the Making Art Everyday webpage. You can find it at makingarteveryday.com. We change it out every month, so it's all up to date for Brushtober. Here is another place you can download the drawing journal. You can just click right there. Here is where you can add the calendar. You can subscribe to the calendar and have it in your calendar app. And then we also have all the prompts here, and the cool thing about this is all of these are linked to a Google image search for that thing. So for example, if I tap on sweater, we get some image results of, I kind of customized this one for fall sweaters. And you can take some inspiration for different patterns and things that you can add to your sweater illustration. Let's go back. Get bigger. Okay, it's wanting to be slow now. Okay, oops, I went too far. Bear with me as I
slow too, because people are probably heading over.
Yeah, maybe. There we go. Okay, so we're back here. So every day when you sit down to do your, Making Art Every Day, your Brushtober prompt for that day, you can head to this page and you can tap on the prompt, and then you'll have some inspiration for you to draw that day. So it's really nice and helpful. We've got a link to the Sketch Sesh if you want to rewatch it. And then we have the Brushtober schedule, and I am linking all of these things directly to the event or, you know, the tutorial. So some are not linked up because they don't exist yet, but I will link them as soon as I have the links. So this is a nice place to kind of just get links to everything. And then of course, as always, we have a little section of tutorials to try. These are all Bardot Brush tutorials that kind of go with the different prompts. So if you want to follow a tutorial instead of kind of making it up on your own, you can check these out. And then these tutorials are from Art Makers Club. So here's the folksy florals, and this is the brush one that I was telling you about. It's brush making basics. If you're going to do this one, this is kind of nice to have a little, you know, get your feet wet in brush making. And then we have some other great tutorials down there. Okay, I think that's it. The only other things in your journal are we have a little page where you can doodle some ideas to kind of give you a jump start on some of these prompts. So if you have some stuff that comes to mind, you can doodle it down, or you can use this page to just kind of go through some brushes, make some brush strokes, and just kind of like explore the brushes. Like that's a really useful thing, especially when we're going into Brushtober, is to just like kind of go through the different sets. Take this and kind of make some marks. Whoops, let me get black. Make some marks, practice with tilt, practice with pressure. So here I am doing light pressure and then heavy pressure. For this one's gonna be a little more solid. And tilt might have some different effects, like especially with some of these pencil brushes, like when you tilt them, you get kind of like a real pencil if you were kind of shading from the side. So I highly recommend, you know, exploring the brushes in this way, and it's a really good way to get to know them and like see what they can do. You can experiment with like speed, like fast strokes, short strokes, long strokes, big strokes, coloring in versus like, I don't know, all kinds of different things. And in fact, I have a YouTube tutorial that I released earlier this month where I go through every single Procreate 5.4 brush. Like every single one. There's 180 of them, so it is kind of a long video, but if you have some time, like I recommend just like putting that video on, grabbing your iPad and just playing with me for an hour and going through all the brushes, and it'll help you get to know them. So I highly recommend doing that.
Hey Lisa.
Yeah.
What brush did you get to name?
Oh, I will go to this page because of course, I had to recommend it. It is a really good brush, but it's this brush, Patamelon. When I was visiting the Procreate office in Tasmania, Claire asked me if I wanted to name a brush, and I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, that's so cool. And they name all the brushes after things from Tasmania, so like animals, cities, places people have lived, like all kinds of things. And the Patamelon is this really cute marsupial, looks kind of like a little kangaroo. So I was like, how about the Patamelon? And she's like, yeah, sounds great. And it's a really great brush. I did not make this brush. I do not take credit for it. This is all Kyle T. Webster's handiwork, but it's a really great brush. So.
And then can you show us the brush library? Because there's it sounds like some people are still on 5.4, not 5.4.1.
Ah, yes, okay. I will do that as soon as I switch to I'll show you some things about the brush libraries before I start drawing.
Perfect.
How about that?
That sounds great.
Okay, because there's only one other thing to show you, which is this page, and that's the progress tracker. So I have here, if you go to the layers, there's instructions for different things, so you can always like turn on the instructions to get some advice about how to use that page. Well, this one's a little kind of funky and fix that. But you basically give yourself a mini goal, like I'm gonna try, 3 new brushes, or I'm gonna like use the same brush all week or something like that. So write yourself a little mini goal, and then you can actually paste your artwork in here, and you have like a nice little visual representation of your progress that month. So that's really fun. Okay, so that is the drawing journal. And I'm gonna go back to the prompts page and decide what prompt I'm gonna do for today's drawing portion of the sketch sesh. So we always go through and tell you all about the month, and then I pick a prompt and I draw it on the fly. And I think I wanna start here since we're kind of kicking things off with Brushtober. I thought it'd be fun to kind of jump into the pencils and pastels week, and I really was drawn to this cat on a windowsill prompt. So I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna use like some of the recommended brushes. Like I really love the Scopus brush for sketching. Fairy Wren is also, this is like a really lovely pastel brush. It's kind of like smeary. And if you guys subscribe to my email list, I'll send out emails. I always send them out every Sunday. And I'm adding some little tips about the brushes. So like kind of like things to try, or, you know, maybe what that brush is designed for, into the emails. And I think we have a link to sign up down in the description of the YouTube video too. So you guys can sign up for my emails, but you can also of course do it somewhere here down at the bottom. Okay, I really should have a link somewhere on here to sign up, but I know there's a link to it on this page when you go to learn more about me. Anyways, okay, so let me get out of here. And I am gonna open up a new canvas, and I'm gonna do a vertical canvas for this one, I think. And before I get into drawing, I wanna show you a couple things about Procreate 5.4. Jeff mentioned Procreate 5.4 versus 5.4.1. I believe I'm up to date. And 5.4.3 we're up to now. Yeah, that's the latest one.
5.4.1 is where they added the function.
So some people, when they download, or maybe they didn't even know their app updated, but it updated, and then they went to their brush library, and all they saw was all of these wonderful sets. But they wondered, like, oh my gosh, where are all my brushes? Like, I'm going through this list, and all my custom brushes, my third-party brushes, the old Procreate brushes, where are they? So a lot of people were freaking out, but they didn't know. You can just pinch out like this and go to the classic library, and that's where you're gonna find all of the old Procreate brushes. So here you can see all the old sets. Mine's kind of messy. I don't know why it's so messy. So all the old sets from, you know, previous version of Procreate, and all your custom third-party sets are all in this classic library. So you just kind of pinch out and tap between, pinch out, or you can, when you're pinched out, you can tap here. There's like a little caret. No, there isn't. Oh, there used to be a thing that says go back to libraries, but maybe that's different now too. There, oh, it was here, sorry. When you're in a library, you go here, and you can go back to libraries if you don't want to do the pinch gesture. So that's how you can find your old brushes. And I've been like organizing my brush sets by like Bardot Brush, brush sets, Art Makers Club brushes. So I'm kind of working on getting everything organized for myself. Okay, and if you guys have any other questions about Procreate 5.4, let me know. I also have a video where I go over everything that's new with Procreate 5.4, so that's on my YouTube. The last 2 videos that I published are about Procreate 5.4, so you guys can check those out. Okay, so let's draw. I'm gonna go to the pencils, and I'm gonna try the Scopus brush because I've been really enjoying that one for sketching. And I'm doing a cat in a windowsill, so I can actually bring up the reference photos. So I also have, there's been a lot of changes lately, you guys. I also have iOS 26 installed, and the split screen thing is totally different now, and it can be kind of frustrating. So I'm gonna show you like the quickest way that I've found to get back to split screen, because you used to be able to just pull your dock up, drag it to the side, and then you'd boom, be in split screen, but it's not like that anymore. And I'm kind of sad about that, but here's what you can do. So I have Procreate open. You can grab, if you put your finger in the middle, or sorry, the bottom right corner, you can shrink the window down a little bit. So like that. So shrink that down a little bit. Open up Safari, shrink that down a little bit. So now they're both windows. And then take the Safari one and fling it over to the side. And then take Procreate and fling it over to the other side. And then you have the familiar little handlebar in the middle where you can resize like that. And I like to have, you know, small Safari on this side and bigger Procreate. And you can, let me drag those back down. So now I'm kind of in like what split screen used to be. And the other thing about that is you do have to turn this on your settings. Sorry, we're getting into some technical stuff, but I just want to show you in case it's not working for you. And then we'll get to drawing, I promise. So if you go to, oh gosh, now I forget where it is. Here we go. Settings, multitasking, and gestures. You have to turn on windowed apps in order to get split screen at all. If you're in full screen apps, it'll just be one and you can't do it. So make sure you're in windowed apps to do that. Okay, hopefully that helps some people that like already did the update. And now I have to get, okay, there we go, I'm back. Okay, so this is how I like to have the Making Art Everyday site, and then you have like a nice little picture of all the prompts, and you can tap on one. So I'm gonna do cat on a windowsill, and it's gonna take me to some photos, you know, so I can like get an idea of how I might want to draw that. Like I kind of like, oh, that's weird. Oh yeah, Google looks a little different too. I don't know. Everything is different now. But I kind of like, I do also have an idea in my head of what I want to do for this one. So I might not use the reference photos super much for this one. So I'm just at least thing. Okay, Scopus is the brush I'm using. I'm going to start by just drawing like a rectangle. And this is going to be the like opening of my window. And I'm just kind of using sort of like light pressure and sketchy lines with this brush. And then I had the picture in my head of like some shutters. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. So I'll do some kind of shutters, maybe. I guess this window is we're looking into the building from the outside. So I'm going to draw some shutters. And then I can kind of recenter this. Okay, and I'll draw like the sill. Well, this would be like the trim on the outside of the house, I guess. And I kind of want to do some curtains, but maybe it'd be cool if like the curtains were like flowing, like there's wind blowing or something. So maybe I'll kind of draw like a little wave kind of thing, like they're kind of just like blowing outside the window. So just using sketchy lines, and I'll make that more detailed soon. And then I'm just gonna, I'll use the same brush as my eraser just by tapping and holding the eraser, and that'll choose the Scopus, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. There's so many new brushes now, and they have Tasmanian names I don't always know how to say. Okay, there we go, just erase that. I'll add more detail later, but I'm gonna do another curtain kind of here. This one's still inside, so it's kind of, maybe it kind of goes like that. And then I'm gonna do my cat. So I'm just gonna draw kind of a head, and then kind of a shape like this sort of. And this can be like the tail. And just kind of keeping it rough for now, just to kind of get some main shapes down. Do some ears. Let's see. Okay. All right, so I've got kind of the cat shape, and now I'm gonna do some legs. So I think I'm gonna have the legs kind of coming in, like sort of like a V, and then little feet together. There we go. So there's some little feet. Erase that part. And then the leg, or the back, yeah, like the hind leg. Something like that. I'm not going for like super realism here. Okay, so now I'm gonna add in some eyes. So we'll put the eye line about right there, draw a little line. And then I'm just doing like little kind of sketchy circles. And put the nose right in the middle. And then maybe I'll add kind of a cat eye shape to these circles, so they're more like kind of cat shaped eyes. And then I might make, I don't know if I'll do the eyes facing, maybe like looking out at you. Little tiny mouth. That's cute, I like it. And then some whiskers. Little kitty. Okay, now I can kind of come in and like define the face a little bit more. Maybe I'll do kind of like a, like almost like almond shape. Oops, scoot the curtain over a little bit too, so there we go. All right, so there's my cat in the window. The window is open. And I'm just gonna draw kind of the inside of the shutter. And this will end up being like lines like that. I'm not gonna define like everything in this sketch. And let's see, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do these. So maybe I'll do, this is how I like would normally do like a dress or something with these kind of curved lines like this. And then they kind of go up. I don't know if this will work, but I'm trying it. And then kind of one that kind of comes out here. There we go. Kind of works. Works enough. Okay. And then I can add, oops, this in here. Yeah, this brush is really nice. I really have been enjoying it for sketching. I like how like light it can get. I usually when I make sketching brushes, they're a little more gritty and grainy. So this is a little bit more smooth for me, but I do like it. It's really nice. Okay, let me see if I need to add anything else. I don't think so. Just recenter that a little bit. So there's my little sketch. Or actually, I'm gonna add, we do need like some trim around the window, so I'll kind of define that. And the rest of the trim would just be behind. Maybe there's like, actually I'm gonna make this trim a little bit bigger. Just kind of thicker. And then I can add some, I don't know, with these things, like little supports, or I don't know what those would be called. The things on the underside of the window. Okay, pretty happy with that. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start adding some color. So I'm gonna reduce the opacity of this layer, just tap the N, and I'm going down to like 18% or so. Create a new layer, and then I'll put it underneath. And then I'm gonna go into my pastel set. And the brush I've really been enjoying is this Fairy Wren brush, but I might bounce around between some of the other brushes. We'll see how it goes. And now I'm gonna start coloring. So I am going to start with, maybe I'll start with the cat. I was thinking of a black cat because it's spooky month, so I'm kind of doing a really dark gray. And my brush is at like 25%. And just kind of coming in with light to medium pressure. And just kind of coloring inside the cat, using lots of little strokes. If I colored with heavy pressure, it would look like that. So you can see that I'm kind of using pretty light pressure. So there's lots of texture to it. I'm just layering a lot of strokes. And then also I'm kind of doing the direction of the strokes sort of like in the direction that the fur would be. So like I'm gonna make my sketch a little darker, and I'll turn it to multiply too. Sometimes that helps. There we go. Okay, and then just gonna keep it kind of loose, not fully filled in yet. Color that in. Look at that yummy texture. It's really nice. I'll go a little bit smaller for these ears so that I can get kind of, get to a point. Go a little smaller.
Diane just asked an awesome question.
Yeah.
Bardot brushes that are similar to new Procreate brushes always come with accompanying blender brushes. With Procreate ones, do you recommend just using the smudge tool for blending?
I almost never recommend using the smudge tool. I'll show you. So like here I have Fairy Wren with the smudge, and let me turn the opacity. Okay. So whenever you smudge with the smudge tool, it depends on the settings of the brush, but oftentimes when you smudge, you kind of take away the texture. Like it will definitely blend things together and stuff. So like for example, I'll do some green over here and I don't know, some orange color over here. Oops. And then get the smudge tool. And there's a little bit of texture you can kind of see there, but mostly it's kind of blurring. Not every brush is like this, like you can kind of experiment. So that's why when I make a brush set, I usually try to have a brush that is just for blending, and the settings for the way that it mix come from the wet mix settings here. I really dilute the brush, but keep the texture. And so that way you are just moving colors around, but still keeping the texture of the brush. This Bandicoot brush here does have some color pull to it. So this one's a little bit softer. You can almost tell, like it's kind of moving things around. And Kyle, he put some really great notes on that video, the like hour-long video I made about some of the different brushes. He like put a bunch of tips and stuff on there in the comments. So I'm kind of pulling from that information, but you should check out that comment. I pinned it on that video.
And it's something that we'll talk about a little bit more here and there this month.
Yeah. And he suggested making like a more diluted version of it, and that's what I did here. I like mess with the wet setting. So this one's super, super blendy and draggy. You can kind of tell. So, and that I just did by going into the wet mix and turning the dilution up. So that's how you can do that, but duplicate it first. So yeah, that's a really good question. I don't really love this smudge tool. It's a little too soft for me.
And then what brush are we using right now?
Oh, I'm using Fairy Wren. Let me undo that. I'll let you know if I switch. Okay, there we go. So again, just coloring in my cat. I'm gonna make the tail a little bit different shape though. Kind of want more of a curve like that. Trying to decide if it's a big fluffy tail or skinny tail. I think fluffy. Okay. Okay, so there's kind of just like a rough pass with that brush. I think I'm gonna go around and like add color more before I like add more detail to that. So I'm just gonna create a new layer and do kind of a, maybe like a sage green for these shutters. In the fall time, you guys know me, I like my bright colors, but I'm like, it's fall. We can do something a little more muted. You know, I'm just thinking these shutters would be like on the outside side of the trim. Maybe I don't understand how windows work. I guess this would be a good time to look up an image search. I'm like, how do shutters attach to a house? I don't have shutters on my house. I don't know. I think they're on the outside of the trim. That's okay. We'll make it look how we want. So just kind of coloring in this. This green's probably a little darker than I want, but I can always adjust it. Okay, so there's one. Love all that texture. And then I'm gonna go around my curtain. I don't have to color in underneath where the curtain's gonna be. Maybe.
Can we reset our brushes, by the way?
Yeah, if you want to, is that the whole question?
Yes.
Well, I was trying to, when I was trying to show you this, when you zoom out, you can restore your Procreate libraries, and that will restore the, I don't want to press it. The new Procreate library and I believe the classic brushes too. I'll have to look that one up in the manual to see exactly what it does, but I'm pretty sure that's what it did. I did do it once when I was testing the beta, and that's what it did, so. Okay. All right, so there's the shutter. I'm gonna create a new layer and do the curtains. Or maybe I'll do the wall. Maybe I'll do the wall. Do I want it to be a creamy color? Maybe like a creamy orange. Oh, that's a little too more muted, maybe a little less dark. I'll try that.
And so real quick, we blend with wetter brushes?
You can, yeah. Like when I design a brush that I'm making truly for blending, I like turn the dilution up high and like the charge down low, and like I kind of mess with the brush setting so that it doesn't like deposit color. It just kind of like moves stuff around. So that's how I do brush. But if you you can always play with the dilution. Like the way that those wet mix settings, like they're kind of the settings are dependent on each other. Like if you change one setting, it affects a different setting in a different way, and like they're kind of finicky like that. But you can always play around, like duplicate a brush and just like start messing around with the settings and see what you do. That's how I learn most of what I know how to do, is by just like messing around with stuff, just seeing what it does and then kind of banking that in my brain. So this is like a layer underneath all the other layers, and I'm just kind of like roughly with a really big size brush coming in and like painting the background. This is like the house color, I guess. I don't know what color. I painted over that, but it's okay. Okay, the curtain color. Ooh, what's it gonna be? A lighter green than I have? I don't know. I'll try that. So I made a new layer, and I'm just kind of roughly coming in over the curtain. And my brush is still pretty big. I'm doing this pretty loose and rough, and I can always like come and refine anything with like a smaller size brush. That's kind of nice, the green on green. Okay, I'll do this one. Well, see here, I probably need a smaller brush because it's a smaller space. Okay, what color is the trim gonna be? I don't know. And then what color is happening behind the kitty in the window? Oh no, I didn't think about that. Let's see. Well, I did a light colored cat. Like probably I would normally do a dark color, but I did a dark colored cat, so I don't know. I'm just gonna throw a color down and probably end up changing it later. This is why I like to put things on different layers, because I can always like go to the hue, saturation, and brightness adjustment and just like change the color. So to get the color I have now, I just took the building color and just darkened it, a little less saturated. So I'm painting around things like you would if you were just kind of coloring everything in on the same layer. Just because I want it to look natural. Instead of just kind of blindly going behind and coloring it like that, that looks like more digital than like kind of like a natural coloring look, like if you're coloring by hand. So that's why I kind of, and maybe I'll leave some of this white space peeking out. I kind of like that too. I don't know if I like this brown, but we'll see. I feel like the curtains are kind of, I don't know, they're calling the most attention. I don't know if I like that. Okay, maybe we'll just stick with these greens and we'll do some dark trim. And just see, maybe we'll do green on green on green. So I again have my brush size really big. It's not all the way big. It's like 60%. Oh wait, that one. Hold on. The trim would go Maybe it would end like there. Maybe. Like this is where I'm like, I don't know. Jeff, you tell me, where would the shutters be in relation to the trim on a window? Like from the outside?
Great question.
I'll see if I'm doing this right or wrong. Okay, I'll leave that for now and come back to it.
So they are on the outside of the trim, it looks like.
Okay, so there would need to be actually trim here,
Yep,
and then the curtain would probably not be. Yeah, right.
Depends on how they're designed.
Okay, well, there's maybe.
Most of the time, they're on the outside of the trim. I can tell you that. Like
Yeah.
99%, the answer is outside the trim.
Okay. I'm gonna make this top trim a little bit bigger. There we go.
Sometimes they're mounted inside their trim, appear to almost be outside the trim, but it is mostly outside the trim.
Okay. Oh, and then there probably would be trim on the right layer.
Yeah, it really does vary.
Okay. Okay, so far so good. I wonder if this, like the window back or the building was dark. Shouldn't I like, ugh, no. I don't know. I'll play with it later maybe. Okay, let's add some like detail to this, to the shutters. So I think what I'm gonna do is get a little bit darker version of this color I already have. And kind of do this. And I'm doing it on the same layer as I drew. A lot of times I would probably put this on a different layer just in case I need to change things, but I don't know, I'm trying to use kind of a, you know, if you're doing pastel, you're just going straight on top. So sometimes I'll use a digital workflow and, you know, separate things onto layers, and sometimes I'll use like an analog workflow where I, you know, just kind of paint everything onto one layer. Is this a mistake? I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if I could do this. Will kind of be like a, you know, the bottom edge of it. And then I don't know if we need like a lighter color for this edge. Nope, too saturated. And I'll just kind of. All right. Okay, let's get that darker green, and I'll go do the other side. Then I think I want to work on the cat. I want my cat to have some love. Okay. So I'll do this bottom edge like I did on the other side. And then that kind of lighter color. I'm not really worrying myself about a light source at this point. Maybe I will when I do the curtain. We'll see. Okay. Let's do the kitty cat. So I'm just gonna kind of get, now I used like a dark gray before, and now I'm kind of coming in with the black. Kind of like underneath the legs, like here. We'll darken that up a little bit. Maybe like right where the eyes are. And then kind of all over, maybe a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna do the eyes on a new layer. I'm gonna do kind of like a yellowish green for the eyes, and then we get a small brush. I wonder if any of these other brushes will be good. Probably not. Maybe just stick with Fairy Wren. Try Patamelon. Yeah, then I'm gonna do Fairy Wren. Fairy Wren had some really nice texture, just like within each brush stroke, like within all the brush strokes there's texture, and some brushes are a little more flat, like this is Patamelon. So if you kind of, like you can see how this is a little bit more flat and this has texture within all the brush strokes, and that has to do with, you know, the burnt edge setting a lot of times. So this one might just be a different shape and then a different, you know, setting. So yeah, see that one's a lot higher. Okay, anyway. Okay, I can't see my sketch anymore where those eyes were, so I'm just gonna turn it back up and go really small with this brush. It might actually be still too big, but I'll try it. If you are doing like a fine detail like this and like the brush doesn't seem to get small enough or fine enough, you could always like bring a pencil into the mix and draw it with a pencil brush instead. And then I'll get a little pink nose, a little peachy pink. Like I might come in and do some details with a pencil. We'll see. I'm gonna do a new layer so I can do the middle of the eyes. But I'm gonna reduce the opacity of my sketch so I can really kind of see how it's looking. It's kind of cute. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna grab a pencil, something that has a lot of texture, like Huntsman, that has a lot of texture. That looks like it would go good with that one. Pelion, I think, is a grease pencil, I believe. That one has nice texture too, and Swansea also does. Ooh, which one? I think I'm gonna try, maybe I'll try Pelion. So if I wanted to add like kind of some black outlines to that eye, define it a little bit more, I can do that with a pencil brush. Or do like the mouth. It's very cute. Make it a little bit bigger though. And then I could also use like this brush to do some whiskers. Kind of like an off-white color. Kind of cute. I can use this brush maybe to kind of define the legs, like here. This one. His legs look kind of short, but it's okay. Do I want to add little, sometimes on my animals I like to add little tick marks which kind of indicate fur. I'm doing this on a layer separate from the like cat, like the main shape of the cat, so I can't always just like, if I don't like it, erase it. I don't know, it's kind of cute. Maybe some little eyebrows, I don't know. Let's do the inside of the cat's ear. I'm gonna do a little bit darker. Again, this was the Pelion brush from the pencil set. And then I'm going to get, whoops, I'm not used to this Windows thing. The iOS 26 new Windows thing. It's weird. It takes some getting used to for sure. But I do know that Procreate's working on an update, Procreate 5.5, to kind of like help out with that, you know, the way that Procreate works with this new like Windows kind of feature that they introduced. Let's see. Pastels. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my fairy wren and just kind of pretty cute. Okay, let's add some shading to these curtains. I'll do it on a separate layer, just in case. Okay, I'm gonna go with a big brush, kind of add some dark parts up the middle here, and then along this side, and maybe some, I don't know. So it looks kind of more fabric-y. See, because it's on another layer, I can erase if I didn't like the way that came out. If it was on the same layer, I'd probably just have to like paint over it or something. And then I'll get like a lighter green, add a bit of highlight. And I wonder if I'm gonna go a little bit darker. So I kind of made another layer and I'm just experimenting with making this a little darker. At least kind of at the top maybe. And then I'm using like kind of soft pressure to kind of blend it down. So it looks like it's kind of fading off the gradient. I don't know. Okay, this scene is turning out to be more complex than most drawings I do here at the Sketch Sesh, but hopefully it's given you guys some good insights, you know, to using some of these brushes. I would love to know, you know, whether you want to put it in the chat now or put it in the comments if you're watching later, what brushes you are excited to try with Procreate 5.4, if you've tried any, or if you like, if there's one that you find that you really like, you can put that in the comments too. Let me know. It's always fun when we share, you know, our discoveries and things like that. Oops, we'll let our layer dry on. Just kind of coming in and doing some of these little spots. I'm going to turn off my sketch just to kind of see how things are looking. Pretty good. I think I would like also add some extra texture to this like building part. I don't know if there's like maybe this Ravenswood. Ooh, that one gets really big. So that's Ravenswood. That's really nice. So that one is a brush that gets really big. So I'm just going really big with it and then softly coming in and like adding just a little bit of texture. Maybe this is like stucco or something like that. And then I'll go back to Fairy Wren and just like add a little shadow under the window. On the right layer? No. Create a new layer. I'll try to wrap this one up for you guys.
Someone's saying the watercolor ones, but I'm too scared to try them. I don't know why.
Watercolor can be a little bit tricky, and I'll share some tips when we get to that week, but watercolor, there is a certain technique to using those brushes, like trying to color in a shape with one continuous stroke, or adding like watercolor paper texture over the top of your file that you're working on. And that's why, like, I have my watercolor set and I include all those things with it. And then I have brushes that, you know, overlay in the way that they would naturally with real watercolor. I love watercolor. It's one of my favorite analog mediums. It's a lot of fun. So there are some things to kind of keep in mind. What do you guys think? How's my little kitty? I think it came out pretty good. I might, after this, add a few extra details. Like, I want some line there and there to kind of show how the trim. I could even like add some like sort of like wood grain. Like, there's so many things that you could do. So I'm just like have that pencil brush and I'm coming in and just adding some lines to make wood grain, and you know, you could go crazy. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. Oop. All right, just a little bit of wood grain. All right, I think that's pretty good for now. I think, is my sketch still on? I thought I turned it off. Oh, it is. Okay, one more thing I want to do. I know I said I was done. I just want to define the bottom edge of this with a little bit of this darker color. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. I'll try to share, if I add more to this, I'll try to share it on my Instagram when it's all done. But I think that's pretty good for now. That's pretty cute. I really like the way the face turned out. It's very, very cute. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to learn about all your brush discoveries this month. So much good stuff in the pipeline, so be sure to go back to the Making Art Every Day page. Ugh, trying to get back to it. MakingArtEveryday.com is always where you would want to go to get to that page. So that's where you'll find all the prompts. You'll find all the drawing journal download. You can subscribe to the calendar. You can get your reference photos and all your recommended tutorials, as well as the schedule with links to all the different things that we've got going on. It's going to be a super fun month. Yeah, and I'm so excited to share more about Procreate 5.4. One of the reasons that I'm really, like, I just could not be more thrilled with the timing of the release is just because, like, there's 180 new brushes in there. And that's overwhelming. Like, I think most people like open that up and maybe they're like, they jump in and they try a few, but it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much new stuff to try. So I really, really love that, you know, that we're getting to kind of break it down into little sections. Just like try out a few brushes, see how you like them every week. So each week I'll recommend like 6 different brushes, and you can just try those out for the week or explore on your own if you want to try out some other brushes. But it's like a really kind of manageable way to explore this update, because there really is just so much stuff there, so much really, really good stuff there. So I really hope you guys enjoy exploring this month. Stay tuned for my next tutorial, which is coming on October 3rd, and we're going to be exploring 6 different brushes and doing painty pairs, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, you guys, I can't wait to see everything that you create. If you're sharing your work on Instagram, you can, of course, tag me, Lisa Bardot, and use the hashtag Brushtober or Bardot Brushtober or both. And I can't wait to see your work. All right, you guys, have a wonderful month, and